broadcaster. All right, guys, what is going on? I'm not going to start until we start picking up some people here, Jamie, but probably can take this off. Got this extra stuff on. But what's going on YouTube, aviation community, aviators, pilots, student pilots, and everyone else that is here? Welcome to Plane Talk Live. This is Jamie Struewing. How you doing? There you go. I just had to take that off. So Jamie and I, we just finished. We were just out flying a J3 Cub on skis in the snow. We had about 9 inches of snow last night, and we're here at Steward Airfield. You guys seen my videos where I learned how to fly, flying a J3. Okay, well, let's do this. How's that? Is that better? I think so. I was using a microphone, but obviously it's not working out. So all right, good. So that's Whit pilot. Whit is Adam. So we're in Waynesville, Ohio, and this is where I learned how to fly. Jamie's a buddy of mine, flight instructor here, and he's here to kind of talk about flight instructing, what he does for a living, also flying corporately. And we just had fun flying a J3. Was it a 46? 1946?
Yeah, it was 1941, I believe.
41 pre-war J3 on skis.
42, I believe.
42? Well, lots of fun. I've never flown on skis before, and I've learned how to fly here, but I've never taken the time to come out and experience it. So you guys can come out and rent the airplane. It's pretty cool. It's a lot of different technique than what you would think, than what a normal flying tailwheel would be, because one thing, the airplane wants to stick to the snow, so you got to keep it moving. If not, the friction, the heat that it produces going over the snow heats up, melts the snow, and then you're frozen to the snow instantly. So you got to get out, move the airplane around, break it loose. And then he looked like a bobsled guy. He was running, pushing the airplane, then jumps in while we're rolling, puts a seatbelt on, and we took off. So
yeah, we were going uphill, and I did the mag check and let it stop, and we were stuck. So,
yeah.
So pushed Stewie up the hill.
Well, it was a lot of fun. What's up, Michael? He's from California, and I'm trying to read all these comments. I think I can. Let's look here. Is this comments? All right. So if you see any comments or questions that pop up, Jamie, just go ahead and start answering stuff. But Jamie's actually here to just talk about whatever. Bunch of static sounds. That's earlier. Good sound now. All right. Perfect. We got that. Much better. What's up, Merlin? And great, man. Can't wait to meet you at the ACI. Is that ACI out in, is that Long Beach or Santa Ana? I've been out there 2 or 3 times. I just never met you. But anyway, so Jamie, tell everybody about you, and you guys can ask away also, and don't hesitate. There's Cubs on skis there. It's awesome. Yes, it is.
Hey, Justin.
There's Justin. Yeah, Justin, you missed out, man.
Yeah, come out, Justin.
We were flying your airplane, so we didn't tear it up too bad.
Yeah.
So first ride ever was in a Cub towing a glider in Israel, many decades ago. Come on, Michael, how old are you? You can't be that old. So
yeah.
I mean, I've been flying 25 years. So Eric, yep, I'll see you. I might be out there, here in the next couple of days. I actually go to work tomorrow morning, so we'll see what the next several days brings. But let's let Jamie talk and tell a little bit about himself.
He just turned 80.
He turned 8. Well, that is a couple decades.
Yeah, that is.
Man, you're about to hit a century.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Jamie, what's up with you, man? When did you start flying?
I actually I started kind of late in life. I started in 2010. I had a friend of mine. He had a Bonanza. I'd go fly with him, and I'd ask him a question, and he'd go through a whole bunch of aerodynamics and physics and all this, and it'd be like, "Dude, I just asked you what this switch does." He goes, "Yeah, but when you turn the switch on, it does." So I lived just down the road. I worked up that way. So I was driving by one day, and there was snow on the ground, so I stopped in, thought I'd do some ground school, and then that way I'd know what my friend was talking about. And the instructor I flew with, his name was John. We went out to the Cub, and it was a Cub on skis. So that was my first flight ever. Jumped in there, he flipped the prop, jumped in, and we took off, and I've been flying ever since.
So your first flight was on skis?
Right.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, Jamie taught me a lot. You know, like I said, it's a lot different flying a tailwheel or a small airplane, a Cub Champ, anything on skis. It's a lot different, and it's a lot of cool stuff to do though. It's fun.
Yep.
So you start flying, and then what?
So I just started flying. I just kept it up, kept getting ratings. So I did my private pilot. I did that in about 6 months. I flew about twice a week, and then once I got into cross countries, I started flying a little bit more so I could keep up with it, because you end up spending a lot more time. It takes more time. So I did that in about 6 months, and then the following year I did my instrument rating, and then the year after that I did my commercial, and then I did my multi-engine commercial, and then I just kept flying, got my hours, and became an instructor.
So you've been an instructor 4 years?
A little bit longer than that. I think it's been like 5 years.
5 years? Okay.
So, and then I got my MEI, my double I, so and then my ATP, and I also got my glider rating, commercial glider.
So you have all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
I know you had your glider because you were towing gliders, not well this summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know that. You don't have your seaplane though.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're
Maybe
talking
this
about
summer.
that. I had a couple of questions here. What's the hourly rate in my open air? I don't do hourly rate, David. I do rides only. I have no dual controls in my airplane. No controls whatsoever in my Travel Air or in my New Standard. New Standard never was even designed with controls in the front. But Waynesville or Red Stewart here, what do you guys have that's open air?
Stearman.
A Stearman.
Yep.
So you can come here and rent a PT-17 Stearman, and I think it's $195 an hour.
I believe
It's something
that
like-
might be right, and then with an instructor. So, on top of
Reactions from Nashville. What's up, Nashville? So yeah, it's not that expensive. I mean, compared to what I charge for rides, I don't even know how they make money for $195. Believe me, they don't make much. So
Well, the cool thing about the Stearman is it with the insurance, and you get a checkout in it, you can rent it solo.
yeah,
So,
yep. And you guys get a lot of people. I've had a couple people off my YouTube channel contact. Actually, it was last winter. A guy texted me. He says, "Hey, I just got done flying to Stearman," and I'm thinking like, here in Ohio, and he said, "Yeah," and he had to fly with you. Do you remember that? I don't know. He said he had to build up some time so he could go and crop dust or something like. I don't know.
Yeah. I think I remember. Yeah, he. I can't remember his name right now. But yeah, he was wanting to do crop dusting, so his boss sent him up here and made him fly in the Stearman until I felt like he was comfortable. He did really good, and
Yeah.
he was a natural at it, so worked out good.
Barbados is here. I see Yellow Springs is in the house. Nashville's in the house.
Was that Daria?
Yeah, that's
Hey,
Darren.
Daria, how you
doing? But I did see a question here. If you guys ever want to, if you're around Ohio here, honestly, Waynesville's not paying me anything, but I don't want paid for anything. This is a lot of fun. I love this place. This is where I learned how to fly. But you guys can call them up here. It's called Red Steward Airfield. Just call them up. Honestly, they are so booked with their flight instructors. And what do you have? 2 champs?
We have 3 champs, 2 Cubs, the Stearman, a 152, 2 150s, a 172, Arrow, else do we have that we rent?
T-Craft.
Yep, T-Craft, we rent that, and the glider.
And you call up, they're like booked solid for weeks.
Yep.
And I believe their schedule is like monthly. So you have to wait until their new schedule comes out and you try to call and just fill it up, because if not, you're never going to get in. Okay.
Right.
And I can jot down a phone number here, or go get a phone number. Do you know the phone number?
Nope.
No?
It's in my phone. Look it up.
Yeah. Well, David, he says, do you see the growth in private aviation, net jets, or do you see more general aviation growing in the future? David, I'm not sure what. So, the company I work for, I see more growth. I kind of not understanding exactly what your question is. I think more people are getting off of the buying their corporate airplanes whole and going with a fractional. I mean, that's just it. That's the growth. And there's so many different reasons why that is the way it is. But I think that the growth of fractionals are going to continue. But there are still corporations and things that will continue to buy their own private, aircraft. It doesn't have to be a jet, but whatever aircraft they're using, I still think that'd be okay. But I really think fractional is going to be. It is the future, and it's been the future for the past probably 10 to 15 years. I know if I had 25 million, I would rather go and buy a fraction of something and be able to use it whenever I want to, and then kind of go from there, instead of really spending all of my funds or money on one specific aircraft, and then I have to actually hire somebody like this rascal. And then maintenance and flight safety training, and I mean there's so many other things you got to deal with when you have your own aircraft. But like I said, corporations, they're still going to do it, and why not? And it's a great thing. I don't know. That's kind of what Jamie does also, and
it's a big time saver because you don't spend the whole day in the airport. You go wherever you're going, you get to the airport, you go to your meeting, you're done with the meeting, and you're back home the same day.
Yeah.
So it's a big time saver.
And what are you flying corporately, Jamie?
I've got there's a couple of citations that I fly, and then there's
Slowtation.
Yeah, slowtation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Starts with an S, not with a C.
Right. I tell you, one time we flew Hank Williams Jr. and we got fired, and he jumped out. He goes, "Man," he says, "I'm not flying in this slowtation. Get me something faster."
Yeah, that's funny.
Fly that, and then I've got King Air 200 and a 350 that I fly with a friend of mine.
Yep.
So, enjoying it a lot. So,
Do you have a 350 type?
yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have a 350 type, but I have 1,200 hours PIC in it.
Oh, really? Oh, how did you do that?
Yeah, I've flown a 350 quite a bit.
Yeah.
So you have citation time, you have King Air time. I really like the King Air, in my opinion. I think the 350 is really a great all-around airplane.
Yeah, there's a video out of the Black Hawk conversion.
Yeah.
And it has a comparison of the two airplanes. It has a stock 350 and then another airplane. And you'll see the 350 looks like it's sitting still, and the 350 Black Hawk just climbs right past it. And they're both climbing. It's just the 350's climbing that much faster. Or the other thing is you'll see the stock 350 and the other one goes.
Right.
So we're flying a Black Hawk conversion.
Okay.
And it does 330 knots. It goes faster than that, but we don't push it really hard.
Okay.
And it consistently does 330 knots or better. We get up to flight level 280 in 14 minutes. So it's a performer.
What?
Yes.
14
Yes.
minutes to 280.
So it's if you really push it, you can get to flight level 350 in 18 minutes.
Wow.
So it really screams, and it's a great plane. Landing it, it's hard to land it because it's just you got to get the props into reverse, get the beta in it, no thrust, because otherwise any thrust it's got the MT props on it, 5-bladed props,
Okay.
and it'll drag you off the end of the runway if you're not careful.
So you want to be on speed when you're crossing the fence with that, I'm sure.
Yep, you got to watch it. So otherwise, you're just eating up brakes.
Right.
So, but it's a fun plane. But if you see that video, the plane that I fly is in that video.
Well, man, I see Eric's here. I'm looking at some of the comments, guys, so give me a second. What's the hourly rate at the flight school? Is it wet? Of course it's wet.
Yep.
You guys have flight schools where it's not wet? I've never seen that before.
The prices here, a lot of people come here because it's cheap.
Yeah.
And so you can get by with the Cubs and an instructor. I think it's right around $100. It might be a little bit more than that. And then the 150s, 152, they're just a touch over $100 an hour with the instructor wet. So it's really cheap. And then the 172 is a little bit more, and the aero obviously is more. But for primary training, you can't beat it.
What we'll do before we end, I'll probably take my camera and go show you the board. But if you look at my video where I learned how to fly, I think I showed the rates on there. You can go to their website also, and it's cheap. Okay, Jamie, this is way before you learned how to fly. Okay, when I learned here, the Cub was $26 an hour.
Right.
The instructor, I think, was 13.
Right.
I went out and flew. I showed my buddy Joe, who's out in California. I pulled out a receipt from like 1993. It was $30-some for 0.8. Okay, and he couldn't believe it. He thought I was lying to him. It's all handwritten receipts. So this is 1993, 94 when I was learning. But yeah, the rates here are very competitive. Actually, it's just the cheapest, and you're not going to get anything cheaper. And that's why I'm saying, man, that Stearman, I don't know how they even make money when you're spending 14 gallons an hour at $6 a gallon. Then you got oil, and then you got an engine that costs 35 grand. You're on margins that I kind of figure I want to make money instead of lose a little bit. But
Right.
that's kind of what I've been doing.
I've got a friend down in Chattanooga. He has a Stearman, and he rents his for $400 an hour. So it's cheap. Rent that Stearman here, it's cheap.
Yeah, it is. There's nothing. I mean, it can't be. Young aviation enthusiast, Bill, pleasure. Glad you're here. The rates are wet at Waynesville. Thanks, Fester, whatever that is. Low hour commercial. What's a good low hour commercial job? You have any recommendations for that?
Well, so like if you get your commercial ticket, that and $1 can buy you a cup of coffee. So you have to have, you can actually tow gliders if you're not getting paid. If you're going to get paid, then you have to have your commercial license, and you could do that, tow gliders or haul skydivers. And then if you're going to give rides, you have to have 500 hours. So once you build up 500 hours, you can give rides. That's kind of where you would start out, and then unless you have a friend. So a lot of it, aviation's a small community, so everybody knows everybody. So if you can get in with a group of people and somebody needs a co-pilot and just someone to help out, you can ride along, get a little stick time. That helps out. You can get some hours that way. If you're wanting to get paid, you just have to get the experience first before you can really get paid. A lot of people go with the instructor route. 250 hours, get your instructor rating, and then you start instructing from there.
So I'm sure every job you've got because you know someone.
Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, so that's kind of the recommendation. Instructing, obviously I flew skydivers. I did a lot of 4 years of flying jumpers and towing gliders. I never really thought about that, but that is one way you can definitely pick up a lot of flight time. There's pipeline flying.
One of the instructors here, when he was younger, he used to fly for a radio station and did the
Traffic watch.
he flew the plane. The other guy did the traffic watch.
Was that in Dayton or Cincinnati?
I think it was in Cincinnati.
Okay, traffic
So,
watch.
Yep. So it's just depends on who you know and who you can get in with, and just you got to start somewhere. And a lot of times you just don't get paid. You just have to build the hours. The thing that's going to hold you back is insurance. So until you got experience and time, you can't get the insurance. You may have the rating, be qualified to fly the plane, but until the insurance is happy,
Right.
Nobody's happy, right?
Right.
So,
It's kind of like the FAA.
Yep.
They're not unhappy until you're not unhappy.
Right,
Or whatever.
Yep.
So Bill, he said we should be in the B-17 doing this interview.
Well, we could be out on the beach 18, but
It's covered in 9 inches of snow.
and it'd be cold. That'd be a summertime project, right?
Yeah. So Alex says he flies where it's dry. Well, that's good. It's wet and cold here with a lot of snow. Bill, what I'll do is do another live broadcast over at the museum over in Urbana, and I'll get Randy back on the horn, make him do it. So I'll probably do that in a couple weeks, but I'll try to put a little notification out. You guys are interested. Randy's a hoot. Please respond to my comment. Please. I don't know who that is. All right. I don't know. Do we just want to say...
Hello from Eagle Pass, Texas.
Man, I've been to Eagle Pass, Frank. That's right on the border, am I correct? A little bit northwest of Laredo, Texas. I'm pretty sure that's where Eagle Pass is. I've been there. So,
so on the ground school, CJ is asking about that.
that's good. You got it.
We here, what I tend to do is I like to have the students do their own ground school. If you can buy the material and you can come to each lesson already prepared, you get more out of the flying than if you come and not have ever read anything. I've had students come in, they do the ground school on their own. They've got questions. I answer their questions. I'll ask them a few questions to make sure they know the material, and they can do it all on their own, just doing the study material. Those that don't study, I got rainy days, we go in the back, we do ground school. If they're the type that when it's raining, they go home and drink beer or watch TV, then those are the ones I have to yank in the back and make them study. So if you're a good student and rainy days you study on your own, you can pretty much do it yourself. And it's pretty easy. You can get a good score if you take the time to do it. A lot of people, so what I see is a lot of people who don't have time, busy, executives or, just if you're farther along in life and you've got kids and everything, don't have the time. They do the 3-day ground school, get it out of the way. But the thing with the ground school is that you want to make sure you know the material, and in 3 days you're just learning what the questions and answers are, and that's not good. You want to really know the material so that when you go to do your practical test and they do the oral part, you'll be able to zip right through it instead of fumbling your way through.
So you're saying don't have rote learning.
Right.
Rote learning means you just kind of remember something, but you don't really have any understanding of what it means.
Exactly.
So, what have you seen people use like the Sportys ground school, and has it, to me, Kings and Sportys right now seem like the very popular ground school to be in.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. It's kind of rote learning. They'll have they put an app on their phone. The app has questions on it. You answer them, and you're just learning the test questions and the answers, and you're not really learning. So I've had people, I give them a book, and they say, I don't want to read this. This is boring. It's like, it's flying. How can it be boring? It just it baffles my mind. So, but some people they just don't. They'd rather do the flying. They'd rather not do the learning part of it. But for me, all the stuff that I learned as a private pilot, I really didn't understand until I went to do my commercial. And then I felt like when I was ready to do my commercial, that's when I was ready to do my private pilot. So
Right.
I always felt like I was, one check ride away from the other one I should have been doing. So, but it's just, study, read as much as you can. When you're first learning, that learning curve, you've got a whole lot of information. Don't get overwhelmed by it. If you look at the FAR aim, you're supposed to know about everything in there, at least the Part 91 and 61 part, right? And so, don't get overwhelmed, but it's a lot of information. But if you start pacing yourself from the beginning to the end, it makes it a lot easier instead of just cramming it all in.
I remember when I was learning, Dave pulled out that FAR aim, and I hate reading. And man, you start reading Part 61, and it's almost like reading the Bible. Right. It's like, okay, let me read this, and then you got to sit there and read it again and try to say, what did it just say? I'm not quite sure. I need to get somebody that understands this. And then, Part 91 gives you all the certification rating requirements. So that stuff was a little bit easier for me to understand.
Part 91 is going to be regulations, and Part 61 as it pertains to airmen. So
yeah.
And that's one of the questions on the test. So, but it's not that bad. It's just in the beginning there's a whole lot of information. You just have to pace yourself and take bites of it as you go.
Right. I hear you. 11 ground school. Why is Cub so much better than a Champ? Why is the Cub is so much better? It's not. I could tell you so many reasons why the Champ is better than a Cub, but the nostalgia part, I have to admit the Cub's fun. But I learned I have to be partial to the Cub because I learned in a Cub. 65 horse, J3. I mean, how can you not enjoy that until you get in a Champ?
They were talking about actually putting the skis on the Champ.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but the Champ's a little bit heavier plane.
Yeah.
Which makes it just that little bit of weight just makes it won't get off the ground. So that's one of the reasons why we put the skis on the Cubs and not the Champ.
I hear you.
It's just that little bit of weight. We had Emerson was out with a student and they just barely got off the ground because the temperature was such that the snow was a little bit soft and the plane wasn't really sliding through it, so it made it difficult to get off the ground.
Well, I like I said, it was my first time. I've had the opportunity to buy some skis. I think I will, and put them on my Champ one day. I think it'd be a hoot. We did do a video, and it's going to take me a few days to get it, but we did some air-to-air with another, another Cub beside us. So we got a couple minute shots of that, some good air-to-air. So we should enjoy that.
Yeah,
at least you guys
really
will.
Good. That should look really good.
The rest of the video might be crappy, but
yeah, because we're in it.
yeah, that's right. You see any other comments here?
Yeah.
Much better. No, I mean payment wise. Alex, what is Alex talking about?
Alex, ask your question again.
Yeah, where are you at, Alex? You have a question.
Right there.
Okay. Where I fly is dry. Oh, where you fly is dry pricing.
Oh,
where do you fly at? Is that California? That has to be California rates.
Yeah. No, we're wet here, so oil and fuel's included in that price. So it's $100 with the instructor and the plane. Wet.
Yeah. I get it now. Why corporate instead of airlines? Do you ever switch over? Will you ever switch over? Oh boy, Eric, that's a good question. There's so many. I probably should do a whole video just on that. But Jamie's done nothing but corporate, and
there's a reason for that.
Yeah, I hear you. You know why I'm where I'm at? Because it is the largest corporate or fractional ownership company in the world. We have great benefits. I have a very good schedule for what fits for me. We have about 4 or 5 different schedules, but I'm on a week on, week off schedule. And why that's a benefit for me is allows me to have my business, which barnstorming, giving biplane rides in the summer. But every week I'm off is like a vacation. So last year I went on a 7-day cruise and never had to use one sick day or personal day. They allow me to move my schedule over 3 days, so I'm only off for 4 days. And I went back out for 7, and then I was off for 10. So I was able to go on a 7-day cruise. Mm-hmm. And not one thing about a corporate pilot, a true Part 91, and Jamie could probably tell you, you really don't have any days off. If the owner of the business wants to go on a trip because of emergency, you will have to go on that trip. I mean, it's almost a guarantee. Where I'm at, when I'm on days off, I don't ever get a phone call, a page, or anything. Okay, so that's the good pros about it. Cons, yeah, I don't make the money. You go to FedEx or UPS, 12 months into the job, you're at 170,000. I don't get that, but I make pretty good money also. I've been there 11 years on a FO. I have more to life than work. So I'm not working these long schedules. I work to live. I don't live to work. And I tell a lot of captains that when they start complaining. When they're making 250, 300,000 and they're telling me that they have they need more money so they can pay for their $90,000 brand new truck they just bought. I don't feel sorry for them.
Nope, I wouldn't either.
I worked hard and I've saved my money and I've been able to be very good with that, and it just kind of works. One thing, I don't have a college degree, so that is another reason why Delta would never ever look at me. But you're telling me some kid that just went to college, flight instructed, and then flew a King Air for a half of a year and then a Citation for half a year, he's going to get hired, but not me? I have almost 10,000 hours flying multiple jets and been all over the country and the world. But you know what? That's okay. It's perfectly fine. I'm happy where I'm at. But I will tell you, my logbook is getting updated. Yeah, I am updating my logbook. So, Log 10 Pro, man, you guys are a blessing. And it's a kind of good thing. And you never know. You just never know what comes around the corner. All right. I'm heading to Liberty University. Yep, that's down in Virginia. Looking for online degree program in aviation. CJ, that's probably a good plan. I would recommend getting your degree. If you want to go to a major, a degree is a big deal. And I think if you don't want to go to a majors, don't go to college. So
I think Justin was saying that apps and studying on your own works great. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
If you have the discipline to do that, that's the way to do it. I mean, it's cheap, it doesn't cost you anything other than the books.
right.
But you have to have the discipline to study on your own. So, Dave Donlin. Yeah, Dave, I feel your pain. He's saying that some people are like him. They can't learn from a book. They have to see it and do it.
Yeah,
So,
I'm hands on.
Yep. But the thing is that if you read the book and then you go out and do it, it makes more sense.
Yeah.
And the two correlate. Where or if you go out and fly and then read after you've flown, then it'll make more sense because you've seen it. So
Sure.
The other thing is, like, if you read a book and it talks about ground effect. So hey, show me ground effect, and you can do a few things, show them how ground effect works, stalls, spins, that kind of thing. If you read about it and then demonstrate it, you can understand it a little bit better. So
This is my company phone, and my brief came in. So I go to work tomorrow, and at 6:00 they brief you. And what that means is that I have to go to work, so they brief me. So it looks like I have to show up at an awesome 2:41 tomorrow afternoon.
oh.
So I do that, then I'm going to Columbus, and then I pick up an airplane and fly up to Teterboro, and then I'll be in Milwaukee, north of Chicago, tomorrow night. But so now what I'm doing is ordering my food. We get 2 meals a day. So you guys get meals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way it works for me, I'm just like a contract pilot. So if somebody needs a pilot, they email me or call me and say, hey, are you available this date? I can say yes or no. And then I usually get an email stating who's going to be on the flight, what time we're departing, or what time we'll be back, or what day we'll be back even. And so while I'm gone, then part of the deal is that all my expenses are paid for.
I hear you.
But I don't make as much money as Dewey because I'm not flying as much as him either.
Yeah, I'm doing like 50 hours a month. 50 to 60 hours a month is what we.
Yeah, so
I'm
how
flying.
much did you fly last year?
Almost 400 hours.
What?
369 hours
Wait. So
in
back
12
up.
months.
So you did in 12 months you did 400 hours?
Almost.
In 12 months I did 660 hours and he's getting paid more than me. What? I'm doing something wrong.
That's why I'm flying corporate. Or flying who I fly for.
I'm doing something wrong.
And I took off a leave of absence without pay.
Right,
Yeah. So I ain't mad.
I do that every day. Every day that I'm not flying.
Yeah, it's leave without pay.
Right, yeah.
Gold Seal Online Ground School for private pilot was well prepared. Now I'm using King's IFR. That's cool, Felix. I actually follow Felix, I think, on Facebook and Instagram, but Instrument was like my best rating because it's like when you popped out of those clouds or looked out of the foggles and you see the runway, you know you did the right thing, right?
I got really lucky.
Right. Like you guys don't have to do NDB approaches anymore. I don't even think they're even around.
Well, that and the GPS. I mean, holy cow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you need a 107 Dewey or your commercial item? No, you have to get a 107
Yeah.
witty pilot. You have to get that. A commercial or ATP does not cover any UAV stuff, unmanned stuff. Jump planes for 4 years. Did your IFR get a little rusty? Nope, it didn't, Alex. Why my IFR did not get rusty? Because I actually flew a lot of IFR. So I flew a Casa and a Twin Otter, and I was very lucky because every week I flew somewhere. I had a co-pilot. We'd fly together almost every week. So I was based here where I live in Xenia. I might have to be in Atlanta next Thursday or Friday. So I'd fly IFR and I'd fly down to Atlanta and land at, I think it was Monroe, Georgia. I've done a drop zone there. I've been to Chicago, Arizona, all over Florida. And all those times I would file, and whenever the weather's bad, I definitely file. And there was a story, I was flying back in a Twin Otter one night. It was really, really late, really bad weather. And this is back well before cell phones and stuff. So I called flight service up, Dayton Flight Service. The guy is on the radio with me. And I asked him to call my parents. And I gave him my phone number. And I said, can you call my dad and tell him to meet me at the Springfield airport? Because I had to shoot the ILS down. It was like 300 or 400 foot. And I couldn't get into Greene County Airport. So the guy calls my parents. And my dad meets me out at the airport at like midnight. And actually it was in a Casa. I was flying with my buddy Sean. And I forget where we were coming from. But yeah, it's just, I kept on top of it. One thing about flying jumpers, people say, oh, that's just useless time, but it's not. I flew very large airplanes, Beech 18s, Twin Otters, Casas, flying cross countries a lot. And then on top of that, you're learning how to fly an airplane because the weight shifts and different things like that. Kind of seat of the pants stuff that you just kind of make it a step bigger than the J3 Cub. Anyway, that was what I did. You fly jumpers?
Nope, I've never done that. I was a little bit different. So I got my instrument rating commercial, and then
See you, Bill. Go ahead and die.
and then I got my my instructor rating, and so I instructed a lot, and I really didn't fly any instruments.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I went to do my double I and my MEI and my ATP, then I had to fly a lot of instruments, and I found out how rusty I really was. And so I was not proficient at all. So I had to sort of retrain myself how to fly instruments again.
Sure.
And then once I did that, got my ATP, and then I started flying more of the corporate stuff, then I ended up using it a lot more. And so now I'm more proficient now than I ever was.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we actually just got out of training for the King Air 350. So,
You guys go once a year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then I also have to do training for the 200, so I'll end up going into the sim for that, get beat up again, and then same with the citation. So, but the instrument, there's a big learning curve. So, you got to really stay on top of it, stay proficient. There's a guy here, he's current, but he's not proficient. And so when he flies, we have to help him out a lot. So he knows that he's not proficient, so he's not going to go into the clouds, but I don't know why he's trying to stay current.
Right.
So you can get into a lot of trouble that way.
Yeah, you could end up into the ground.
Yep.
That would be a bad day.
Oh yeah,
for
bad.
Everybody. Felix, your thoughts on getting checked out in a new aircraft? What's that? Socata TB10.
Yeah. So the 172 is a really stable airplane, and so if you do your instrument in the stable plane, you can learn a lot quicker. If you I've got a student who's doing the instruments in a Bonanza, and it's a lot harder to fly a Bonanza because it's so slippery. You let the nose drop, and all of a sudden it's going really fast, and now you got to get the speed back under control without gaining a whole bunch of altitude when you pull the nose up. So flying something that's a little draggier, a little bit more stable, that would be kind of the way to go. And then once you've got your instrument ticket, you can start going into other planes, get the faster planes, learn how to fly those VFR, control them really well, and then you can start going under the hood. Because if you don't have the VFR control, so when I fly VFR, I fly it the same as if I were under instrument conditions.
Okay.
So basically you've got a real airplane with a real horizon, and I fly that exactly the same as if I'm in the instruments, where I've got a little dial that's the airplane and artificial horizon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing. I don't move the yoke. I put pressures in the yoke and the rudder pedals to make the plane go where I want it to go. If you take your finger and just push on the yoke and put a little pressure on there and you're patient, the nose will start to drop and it'll start going down. If you just shove the nose over, the nose drops and you're going to start going really fast, and you're going to start doing 500 feet per minute, and you only need to go down 100 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're trying to pull the nose back up. You build all that energy up. Now you're going to zoom back up, and you're going to be above altitude from where you need to be. So
Right.
you really have to be really light on the controls. And if you're off altitude, off heading, small corrections, small pressures to get it to come back. Don't horse it around, because then you'll just be, every correction that you make, a big correction, you're going to be fighting that, bringing it back around. So,
Use your trim.
yep.
A lot of trim. Trim,
yeah.
trim. I try to tell everybody, just use your trim. And like he was saying, almost just breathe on the controls, and the airplane will do what you want it to do. Yeah, that's a good thing about flying instruments.
Yep.
I was thinking about something, but I forgot now what it was.
Yep.
Oh, whatever. Is that Justin again? Is the T-Craft flying? Yes, it is. When it's not snowing,
Right.
of course.
Yeah. We don't have skis for the T-Craft.
I think it's the 85 horse T-Craft also, or is it
I
65?
think that one might be 65 as well. We had an 85 horse Cub, and we just changed it, put a new motor in it. And they're all 65 now,
Okay.
and I think it's just easier that way. We called it the Big Cub because they had the big engine in it.
Right.
Now it's the Big Cub because it's got the bigger numbers on it. So,
I got to fly that when we did that flight.
yep.
What's up, Chase from Jackson Hole? I was supposed to, actually I was in Jackson Hole last week, so it was awesome.
What's up, Abe from New Jersey?
Yeah. So,
Let me see.
what's the two favorite pilots?
NDB.
Oh, who's
yeah.
that
Yeah,
crazy?
there still are NDBs out there. Luckily, we don't have to do too many of them. We can use the GPS instead.
Yep.
So,
NDB runway. Yeah.
there's NDB approaches around here still.
Yeah. I call emergency when that happens.
Right.
Yeah. I don't even think our plane has the NDB, to be honest with it. We have a FMS overlay, so we don't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
When we're talking about ATC approaches, you asked for an ILS 27. They clear you a visual. What do?
Fly the visual.
Take the visual.
Right.
Yeah, and you can still fly the ILS, right? So,
Yeah, you can fly the visual backed up with the ILS.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to use, do the approach, then you have to have, if you're in the visual conditions, you have to have a safety pilot with you. So,
what for the company I work for and my previous company, if you're even cleared for a visual, we still use course guidance to even for your glide slope. And what that is, it allows you to have a stabilized approach. And you guys probably heard me talk a lot about SOPs, standard operating procedures. So you just follow that. If you start following SOPs and being on speed, even when it's a visual, you treat it like an
That's what
ILS.
I just said. When I fly VFR, when he flies VFR, he flies it like he's under instrument conditions.
Yep.
It's the same standard, same everything. You're not horsing around.
That's right.
One thing you can do, like when you fly you're just flying around. You got a 430 in your plane. You set up the approach, and you can hit the missed approach point, which is usually the runway, and hit menu and activate leg, and you can set that leg up, and you'll get glide slope and course guidance down. And I just fly that every time.
Yep.
Keeps you in practice all the time, every plane that I fly. Now the G1000 with the NXI, it has the visual approach. You can select that procedure, and it gives you glide slope. It's just 3-degree glide slope, so you have to be careful that there aren't obstacles, but it gives you course guidance and glide slope, or I should say glide path, because it's not a ILS.
If we did if we use a GPS, we can actually set our altitude at the end of the runway. So we set it 50 foot higher, gives you a 3-degree glide slope down the runway instead of at the beginning of the runway. So it keeps it a little safer. But yeah, if you're flying something that low, you shouldn't be flying anyway, running into trees.
Yeah.
So yeah, always take that. What's up, Caleb? Caleb's buddy from work.
Yeah. I texted you, Caleb. Where were you? I told you.
Hayward, where's your? He said his shirt tails in the background.
Oh, yep. Shirt tails. They're on our left side.
Which one's yours?
Over here, right there is the shirt tails right there.
Yeah, he said his is in the background.
Okay.
So.
Not sure which one. His might be on the back side of the wall. We got a couple back there too.
Visual, blah blah blah. Julia saw you collaborate with Nancy. Yep, Nancy. I will if I ever run into people. I'll probably collab with Nancy again here soon. We were supposed to a couple weeks ago, and then they changed my trip. I was in West Palm Beach for the night. Well, they changed it. I went to, honestly, it was the Bahamas for like the night. I take that. So I can't complain. What's your thoughts on flight simulators for IFR practice?
Right over Dewey's shoulder right here, we got a flight simulator right there.
Yeah.
So it's a really nice one. The problem with the flight simulators, there's a spring in there in your yoke, and that's what's supposed to give you the feedback. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't really give you the feedback. So when you're flying that simulator, what you can do is and I see students do this a lot, they'll turn the yoke and nothing happens, and then they turn it a whole lot, and then all of a sudden the plane goes like that. It's because it's, the feedback in it isn't that great. Same principle here in the simulator, little pressure in it, and if it's not moving, be patient, a little bit more pressure until you see the dials start moving and make the plane move smoothly, okay? Mm-hmm. None of this it's not moving, so I'm gonna move it more until next thing you know, you got the yoke like that, the plane's going like that. So small pressures here works the same as in the real plane, you just don't get the feedback that you would in a plane. It's good for like getting your procedures down.
Right.
When I was learning to fly, I used that. I dial in VORs and try to figure out where I was in relation to the VOR. You put pause, look at the map, and you say, oh, what am I doing over here? I thought I was over here.
That's right.
It works out really good for that kind of stuff. We don't really use VORs nowadays. We got the moving map. It's really nice. But some of your older planes just have, dials in them. Right. It's nice to go out and I keep that in practice. As I'm flying, I dial in VORs. On my side of the citation, it's just steam gauges. So to keep myself from getting bored, I dial in the VORs. I watch myself cross the radial. It's something to do to keep me in practice.
That's what I had to do with the old DC-9 and the Falcon when I was flying it.
Yep.
And you start getting in all this FMS stuff, which like your King Air. Yeah. You guys probably don't have a round gauge in there.
No, it's all flat panel.
It's touch screen and all kinds of craziness.
Yeah.
I think simulators, obviously when you get into higher level, Class D sims, they're the best because you can go from a Class D sim, like what I'm flying in the Challenger and what he's flying in the 350. You can go straight into the real airplane and go fly a trip. I mean, that's how realistic they are. When you have, I don't even know what level this would be. This is more a procedure training, but like Redbird, it's probably like a level B, maybe. I mean, they aren't going to be nearly as sophisticated and things, but procedurally, like you said, it'll be great. Keeping you guys ground.
Rubber band on the yoke.
Oh yeah, it's a practice, it's guidance.
Wagner Smith on the back.
What is this? Oh, okay, Wagner.
Orange one. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yep. Okay.
we're looking.
I see it right there.
Pretty awesome.
Yep.
You guys needed that rubber band trick and joystick clip on the yoke. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about that. Well, that's kind of like all the questions, Jamie.
Yep.
We got it done pretty well. You guys want to do a quick tour? We go out in the hangar real quick.
Yeah, we can walk through there.
Want to do that? We might lose you. If we do, we'll probably just call it quits. All right. If you guys got any other questions, please let me know. But thanks. I'll try to get a video of us flying the Cub around here in the next couple of days. And unfortunately, I don't get any more corporate videos, but we'll go from there. I was thinking about trying to maybe go out and fly that 350 with somebody if they'll let us. Let us know, and you're going to talk to Nancy or Nancy back. She was a cyber.
Better than looking at us, right?
Yeah, I hear you, David.
Yeah.
Oh man, you guys are something else.
Bill was wanting to look at planes, so
All right.
when we go out and do the tour, that'll be for Bill. There's some projects out there. We got a 172. We fly off a grass strip, and this plane is a really old plane. It's been out here for a long time, so they got the landing gear off of it. We had a few popped rivets, so they're redoing the landing gear. It's really rough. That grass is rough on the plane.
Mm-hmm.
So altimeters get beat up a lot. We have to change those a lot. But so we got a 172 out here getting a new gear. There's a Cub that's being rebuilt. The Cub fuselage wings are out here. You'll see a little Pitts. That one's flying. There's a 182 that's out here having an annual done on it. There's a Luscombe that's being rebuilt, and I'm not sure what else. There's one other plane out there.
Currently flying a J3 37931.
Yep.
Keep on flying, man.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. Well, let's do this. I don't want to stay too much longer. I mean, we've been here almost an hour. I really appreciate you guys listening. I hope you guys like this. I'll try to do this more often. Leave your comments down below, whatever, and let me know. But I can get someone like Jamie. Maybe Jamie can come back on, but we can get some other people also, and kind of just do all that. So, yeah, Michael, I've seen the backcountry 182 stuff. Yeah, that's cool, but I'm not into the 182 stuff. So, yeah, I watch Trent Palmer stuff. I like, stuff like that, but it's all good. I kind of do all that stuff here, and we have fun, and I hope everybody that's flying is being safe and keeping the greasy side down, and just continue flying and having fun, and that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't have anything other than fun when you're flying.
That's right.
But pilot license through a flight school or get through college with a flight school program.
Depends on what you want to do, Michael. It's if you're going to go into the professional world, then going through college, it's going to take less hours for you to get your ATP that way. So I think you can do it in like 1,200 hours going through school versus 1,500 hours if you did it on your own. So going through a school, if you want to go through it really quick, it's going to cost you a lot more money, but you can get through it a lot quicker that way.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do it on your own, you're going to have to put more hours in, more time, you end up being a better pilot, in my opinion, because you end up spending more time in the air than, you know, going through school. But in the same thing, you know, when you go through school, they teach you procedures and such, so you learn that a little bit better than anything else. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the Red Steward business card also real quick. The phone number here is 513-897-7717. And you can Google them, or just website is stewardaircraft.net. You guys can look them up. But, you know, Emerson is here, which is actually, he's the third. Cubby, his dad, you know, is the junior. And then Red Steward, who was the grandfather, he was around when I was learning how to fly. And there's a lot of cool stories about him flying. He would set out on the strut outside the airplane and fly by, do a flyby, setting out on the strut. And I heard also he would take the controls and throw them out.
He would take the stick out of the cub, toss it out the window, and he would land the plane that would fly around without the stick. It's crazy.
Yeah. I like to watch that, but I won't try it.
Right.
Well, let's do a quick walk around real quick, like 5 minutes, and then we'll call it quits, okay? Thanks, guys. I'm going to turn this camera around so it's looking forward. And Jamie, you can do the narration.
Oh.
All right. Let's go look at the pricing board first. And like I said, if we lose you. Another thing, when I came here, I have a restroom. They had an outhouse. So anyway, there's the pricing. 71 for the Cub and the Champ. Beach 18, only $550 an hour, man. That's cheap.
Right.
Shoot. That's a beast of a beast.
Yep.
Here, you can come and fly this Champ here. This is a 7AC. And they are actually out here working on airplanes, so. What's up, Tommy?
Too much, you?
What are you guys working on?
Making shells.
Shelves. All right. So this is the old Champ here, a Ronca 7AC. You have a lot of time flying this?
That one we just got it not too long ago, so I don't have a lot of time in that aircraft, but I got a lot of time in the Champs. That's one of our rental aircrafts there. This is a 182 that's in for annual. They just got a new panel in it. They got a new audio panel. It's got a new alternator in it. Changed it over from a generator to alternator. It's got a 650 in it. And that's, well, the 650 ADS-B in and out.
Okay.
That's the big thing. Garmin 347 transponder. So it's a nice plane to fly. 172 straight ahead. That's the one that's getting the new gear in it.
Oh, man.
It came in for 100 hour, and they decided to put the gear in it.
This is like major overhaul. So this airplane looks just like it did when I was learning how to fly. This is 2814 Lima. This is the first 172 I've ever flown. It hasn't changed any.
And that's, you know, they're being smart putting the new gear in it because it didn't really need the gear. It was just some pop rivets, but they're putting the new gear in. And the past few years we've had a few of them break, not here, but at other airports that I've been at. So.
Right. Humidor said this is the perfect hangar with a whole bunch of airplanes in it. Right.
There's a Luscombe project.
Yeah, this is a Luscombe, James saying. Man, it looks like so much work, huh? Can you guys believe it? You would fly it in this thing? When it's all said and done, you're in this little tin can. This is a 172 RG now. Oh yeah.
One I remind this right here, it's a piston, and don't know if you guys can tell or not, but this is the valve right here. The stem broke off. So I was flying the Cub. The valve, the keeper came off of it. It dropped in, broke the valve off the stem. Came down, the stem came in, it poked the stem out the top of the cylinder, came back in, shoved it out the exhaust port, and then this got embedded in here, so every time it stroked, it was hitting the top of it, so I'm flying along one. So it was just happened to be on downwind. We turned, flew right in over the power lines out there, hangar, landed, and you know, it all worked out, but it was scary for a little while.
Boy, that's amazing.
Yep. It won't come out.
Ouch. That's a valve failure. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Boy.
That's about the worst thing that's happened to me.
So if you guys watched the video that I did where I learned how to fly, I put a lot of this in here. But this is the J3 Cub that I soloed in 1993. This is the airplane. And they're working on it right now. See, it's a lot of work. That's cool. And you can also see here, you got to have model airplanes because they have grandkids and stuff running around here. So you got to have kids here.
The wings are right over here.
Okay. Here's a Pitts wing, and man, you guys got aluminum spokes.
Yep.
This is a Pitts. We're getting to that.
So those wings don't go to that pitch. The pitch is in the back.
The other Pitts.
Yeah.
So here's another Pitts.
SP2.
Oh yeah. So this is a two-seat Pitts.
Right. So this one there, Cub didn't like the spar in the one of the wings, so he grounded the plane. They sent the wing out to have it rebuilt, so they have that wing to recover. They decided to redo the plane, so while they had the wings off of it, they tore it all apart, and they're refurbishing the plane, and they'll have new wings on it.
Looks like some landing gear for 172.
Yep. I wonder where those are going.
Yeah. Well, and we bluegrass playing in the background. I think that's probably good, Jamie. What do you guys think? It's been an hour, 3 minutes. It's way too long, but we had fun. Thanks, guys, for watching. And next time, who knows where I'll be and what I'm going to be doing, because I do all kinds of stuff. As you guys can tell, I'm all over the place. And I like making content of a lot of different things. So kind of go from there. Maybe we can get Chris on here one day.
Yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. We're going to call it quits. Appreciate it, guys. And you always know, until then, blue skies. Thanks, Jamie.
Yep. Fly with us anytime.
All right. Yep. Come see Jamie or Emerson or Tommy or Dave still here?
He went off to the airlines, but he'll once he's done, he'll be back once in a while. So Dave will still be here. We have Al's here and Bob's here.
Okay.
So we've got a few instructors.
All right, guys. Take care.